Yo, yo, yo. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Hope everyone's doing all right. Somewhat, considering the PA right now. I was thinking about the title for the video, and I was like, okay, there's nothing to talk about in the market, so we'll just do whatever else comes to mind. But yeah. We'll see what we make of this. Mifos says, good evening. Hope you and your family are good so far. Yeah, excellent. All good, really. The little one is chill for the most part. She's been a little bit less chill the last 2 days, as in she complains more. She doesn't cry, but she complains. Like she's bored and then she wants someone there. And she lets out the scream. But otherwise, doing all right. Fairy Reuter says, hey, Don, audio video good, my friend? Thanks, man. Appreciate it, as always. Would love to see your rant about Trader SC and those clowns for 5 minutes. Yeah, but I think that's just a waste of everyone's time, especially if you come here to see something that actually has some value. But what I will say about the whole Trader SC, Trader XO, whatever thing is that basically what they do is they have friends, right, that chill low cap gems. Then they shout them out and are like, oh yeah, this one will fly, blah, blah, blah in the comments. And therefore not directly shilling something, but indirectly shilling it. And I have been told unconfirmed rumors that, I believe to be true, but it's unconfirmed but Zach is going to go over it, is that they get paid for it. So basically it's like it's a way to shield something without being too obvious, and people tend to fall for it because, it's just them chatting shit with friends. At least that's how it looks like, but it's not how it is. So yeah, gotta be careful what you buy and who you trust, as always. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust me. Don't trust anyone in this space for some reason. And I'm guessing it's the financial aspect of it all. People are just looking at the money, not at the integrity. So gotta be careful there. So yeah, just getting that out of the way. She's like, Dad, stop saying left, right, and center. No, I actually don't say this outside of the stream. I don't know how that crept in, but I'll see if I can get rid of it. Hey, boss, got a new baby 2 weeks ago as well. Love to hear it, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you, your wife, or girlfriend, or whatever, and your little one are doing well. Hey Don, how are you? Will you also show up face one day as Cred did? No, I have debate about it, but as I am on my way out of crypto more so than into it, as in like I'm gonna stick around for a couple of years, I think. We'll see how it goes, but I don't see the point anymore, right? Like I'm not here to build an audience, to do all that kind of stuff anymore. I'm just here to hang out. Given I don't want to grow anything necessarily, and given like I honestly don't care too much, the whole having people recognize me on the street, I would rather avoid on top of the security risks, obviously. So that is not a thing. But yeah, thanks for coming by. Big shout out to the sponsor of the show, which is Woo. They've been continuously working on the platform. It's been a pleasure to see. Go check them out if you want to. Links are in the description. If not, also cool. In general, just inform yourself what's out there. There's some cool stuff, but it's not for everyone. So do make sure that you check out the info available, which is quite a bit, given they tend to kind of like do dashboards for everything, which I like, right? The more info you can get, the better. No, we love it. It's classic Don. The whole SC drama, yeah, but whatever. I cannot deal with it. Not on stream. I'll shit talk about it on Twitter, but on stream, I'll keep it to a minimum. There's a few people, I know just a handful that are still here for market related stuff that don't actually care too much about crypto Twitter drama. I know that seems far-fetched, but it's actually true, I think. I mean, you can let me know in the chat, like, what you guys are here for the drama or for the for the market content. Been doing any due diligence on semiconductors? Interest has phased out lately. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like that whole thing was not true. So I haven't really been doing too much. I've just been dealing with a newborn. Really, it's the only thing I've been doing in the last few weeks. I'm here to buy you a new mic. People just know. People know it triggers me. I cannot. It is what it is. At least I'm gonna get 100 mics delivered to my place if this continues. Have you met XO and SC in person? No, I have not. I've stayed away from them ever since I started. They give me bad vibes. SC one time, and I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers, so now we do the drama anyway, said he would break my legs on Twitter, and I was like, okay, let's have a boxing match in Dubai if you're so certain. And then he was like, and then I actually predicted that he would pull out before he tweeted, and then he tweeted, nah, I'm gonna beat you up on the streets, brother, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Which I found quite humorous, right? Talking a big game online, and then if you actually get the chance, pull out is what it is. Good times. He challenged in the parking lot. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to come with my friends, basically. And I'm just like, what? I don't understand. Like, you feel like I'm so much more of a man than you. Like, you're not going to fight in the parking lot where you get your friends to beat someone else up. Like, that makes no sense. Anyway. Hey, Dawn, what's your gut telling you about where we're heading next for Bitcoin? Sideways, mostly. I feel like we're going to get sideways. So hey, let's get that out of the way, and then we can do the whole Q&A thing. You guys can think of questions in the next, 10 minutes that it will take me to get through Bitcoin and maybe ETH. And then we'll go through them. And once the quality of questions drops, I'm going to call it a day. Let's do it that way. Let's do it that way, shall we? But yeah, let's run through the high time frames. The monthly close kind of shitty. We have a close below this one. That's not the best look. It isn't really too meaningful because to me this wasn't really support and it didn't act as support either. But it is it's weak resistance, but it's resistance, right? So that's something to look out for. Like 27.1, if we should get a pump, that's what you want to get above and close above. At that point, it looks much better than it does right now. But there's really not that much there. The only area that I think is actually interesting is 19 to 20K, which is quite a bit away. And so you cannot really bet on it happening. But if it does happen, it's going to be a good trade, I think. And then on the weekly time frame, I know I've had a bunch of people message me and be like, hey, your charts are wrong. There's supports here and there, whatever. And yeah, you can draw up supports and resistances anywhere on this chart, right? Like you could, and I think this one is very valid. I had this, and we do have it on Technical Roundup. I did a newsletter and Cred and I write every week for free, trletter.com. We have this on that chart. So I like this resistance, right? The reason why I don't have more resistances and support, because there are a few that you can draw, right? There's one here. That's a support. The above was a resistance, right? But the only lines that I want to put on the chart are the ones that I'm going to trade off of, or that might make up, change my mind, basically, right? Like, why would I want to have lines on the chart that I'm not going to do anything with. And right now I'm not really in the trading game anyway. Like, I don't think there's much to be traded right now with the market being as it is. So if I have a bunch of support resistance lines here, it's going to entice me to trade, right? Because I'm like, oh, it hit this support, it hit that resistance, let me take a trade. But that's not what I want to do. So I don't have them on the chart. The only lines that I have on the chart right now are ones that I would want to be trading off of. So just to explain that, because a bunch of people have been kind of breathing down my neck, being like, oh, but yeah, you should have a support at 24K. You should have a resistance here and there. I know that there's support and resistance levels that could be drawn, but I think they're pretty meaningless if you're not going to trade off of them. So that's why I only have these. And I think the only really interesting area to buy is 1920K. And I'm not really looking at the sell side. If I was looking at the sell side and if I wanted to short, right, like this would have been it. Like shorting as high up on this resistance as possible would have been it. But I'm just not in the shorting game. So not anymore. Used to be back in the day, loved it. But I just don't feel like it anymore. There's a few reasons why I don't, but for me, zero exposure, as in not having crypto, is as bearish as I'm gonna get. It's just easier that way, because my normal thinking is that I should be bullish, right? It's a space that I know very well. It's a space that I somewhat like. So if I'm bearish, I'm not gonna have anything. If I'm bullish, I'm gonna have something. And if I'm neutral, I might have a little bit. But right now, I'm pretty underexposed to anything crypto. I want to see how the next weeks to months turn out, right? And the only places that I would do business, down here, up here, as in if we come back above 29K, I think that would be an interesting long, because that would change the structure into something of like, okay, this was just consolidation before higher, right? Because if you test the resistance so many times, at some point it's going to break, and I'm willing to take that bet at that point. But right now, what it looks like, it's just that we've been distributing above 30K, and we've had shitty price action ever since. And I don't really care too much about trading that. So that's Bitcoin. Sorry about that. This is a computer I never use, only for streaming. So we get weird pop-ups and all that kind of stuff because everything's updating whenever I turn this computer on. But yeah. Just out of curiosity, if you buy 19 to 20K, where would be your stop loss? I mean, probably below, like if I was like leverage trading below 15, 16K, but realistically, I wouldn't have one. I think at that point it's cheap enough. And if it crashes through, I'd just buy more. Because at that point it starts getting unreasonably low in my eyes. And this is very subjective. But that's just, when I trade spot, that's how I trade. Like whenever, like it was the same here when I was buying 16K, people were telling me, you're buying 16K, where are you going to put your stop loss? And the answer was like, I just, like if it went to 14K, I would have just bought more. Actually, in this case, I bought so much, I might have actually not even bought at 14K. I would have just been like, fuck, but such is life. At some point, price is low enough for me to just be like, okay, this is good enough, right? It's good enough of a price. It's good enough of potential for it to go higher. And then I kind of like change my tune. Like, for example, like if this would have started bleeding out and walked down here, like then I look at the structure and I kind of reconsider, but I usually don't trade with stop losses anymore. I used to. I still think it's reasonable and you should have some, but especially if you trade leverage. But given I don't really trade that much leverage, for me it's a little bit different nowadays. So that's that. But yeah, I think above 29, 30K, that's interesting. At 20K, that's interesting. Anything in here is going to chop you, and it's going to chop you badly. And that's what we've been seeing. And that's what this chart kind of looks like, right? We had a decent setup above 27.4K. This is a really good level. Was support in here, was resistance in here. We had one fake out that led to quite a significant move. That move only stopped because we got positive news. So it's even more of a significant move. And then once we broke through it, we had a significant move to the upside, right? So this is an important level. We broke it to the downside, and then we get positive news again. And you're like, oh shit, like we're above a good level. We have positive news. Now we should go up, right? Wrong. And this is just kind of how the market trades. This would have been the prime setup if the market wasn't so choppy / bearish, right? But the market just doesn't want to give you any money right now. So the setup failed. I kind of saw it coming. I'm in the mode where I'm just kind of like, something good has to happen for me to get back in the market. And that could be an ETF approval. If I see that, I'd be down to jump into some short-term stuff. But in general, I think it's going to take some time, right? When you think about it, we had a massive bull run. We had a massive bull run. We had an overcorrection. We went sideways, and then we got COVID, and we had a massive bull run afterwards. And then we topped out on way too much hype, crashed, and then everything in the industry went bankrupt, right? Like we went through so much in this time here. Like one of the biggest exchanges went belly up. The biggest funds blew up. Market makers are moving out of the space. Like you have a billion things happening, basically, right? And a billion negative things. And we had a massive bull run before that, and we're still trading like quite a bit above the all-time high of 2017, which was way overhyped, right? So we're still trading 5K above that. So it makes sense to just be like, this just needs some time to digest. Even if you're bullish, you could be like, hey, this just gonna need some time to digest all of this fuckery that's been happening in the last 2 years. And that might just take some time. So like that's the bullish argument. The bearish argument is we had a massive rally. We had a bearish retest, and now we're fucked. But I don't really subscribe to that. I still think 15, 16K is the low. So for me, very unlikely to go below here. Possible, obviously, always. But I'm going to be buying down here if I get to. Are there conditions you would look for further downside from 19 to 20K? Probably not, but we'll see when they come. What's your mid to long-term view? I don't really have one right now. Like I'm not as bullish as I used to be on crypto as a whole. So I'm just trading whatever is in front of me. And my short-term view is if ETF is approved, that's going to be great. If ETF is denied, that's going to be not so great. Yeah, my view is basically we're going to be stuck in between 20 and 60K for a while. And I don't think we're going to get into that 60K portion for quite a while. As in, I think we're going to be stuck unless we get an ETF approval between 29K and 20K. And that for quite a bit. But yeah, I changed my mind fast. I was quite bearish the way down, and then I was quite bullish on at 16K. It's just how it goes. Like depending on market conditions and depending on sentiment and everything, I changed my mind. So asking me for long term like that doesn't really help you much, because my long term view will shift based off of just one dumb move. Right, like if we get a move on fake news, basically down to 20K, I'm gonna be the most bullish guy around. Like if I see like a bullshit move, I'm gonna be a big buyer. And if I get to buy 20K off of a bullshit move, I'm gonna be targeting like 50. And then you're gonna be like, what the fuck happened to this guy? The other day he was telling me he's not super bullish in crypto. Now it's like now we're at 20K and he's targeting 50. That's just how it goes, right? That's how my trading goes. So like it's a pretty tough thing to answer because yeah, it changes. Does your gut tell you we can go below 16k ever? According to GZR, Bitcoin won't go below 16. Bitcoin won't go below 16k, and that was the bottom for some while. I think it won't. My gut says it won't. I think it won't. It could. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. Like, I'm not saying lever your entire life savings with a stop loss or liquidation price below 16k, and then you're going to be fine, because I don't think that's true. But in my head, the chances are quite low. Do you use fib levels or for entry or liquidity levels? No, I don't use anything for that. The things that you see here is all that I do on the technical side of things. Everything else is bullshit to me. Yeah, if you can make it work, great. But to me personally, it's just like, so you draw like whatever, you draw Fibonacci. And I used to use them because in my opinion, back in 2017, 18, and before even, people were using anything that was used in TA courses because they didn't know how to trade this in any other way. So they were useful. But nowadays, I think the market is sophisticated enough to make these kind of not as important. I just use high time frame levels and then check for other ways to kind of see how strong the market is, right? So for me, it's much more important that, for example, the reaction to news is much more important than are we at a fib level or not. Like, I couldn't care less about that. If someone is like, oh shit, we're at the 0. Whatever, 0.68, I don't even know the fib levels anymore. That support, and I'm bullish anyway, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, lit, that's cool. But it's never going to make me be like, oh, I'm going to buy because it's at the fib, or I'm going to buy because it's at that and that, like, indicator, whatever. Like, I personally couldn't care less. Is this crypto related Q&A or general AMA? Whatever you want it to be. Don, thank you for your content. Do you have any professional activities other than trading, job or business? I want to know how you dealt with anxiety during the transition to full-time trading. So my history is one where I got absurdly lucky, right? So I bought Dogecoin quite early, 2014-ish or 15. I still have the wallet lying around somewhere. Made a bunch of money with that. And then, like, kind of forgot about it. Checked back in when Bitcoin was trading at like 500, 600. Realized I made a shitload of percent on my Doge buys. And I was like, I didn't buy much Doge, right? Like, that was pretty, like, for me, it was a lot of money because I was very, very poor back in the day. As in, like, worried about getting enough food. As poor as you can be in Germany. Like, I was never gonna starve, but I was like, I had to calculate whether I could buy anything beyond noodles and rice, right? Back in my school days, like when I was 17, I was buying noodles and rice without sauce for like a week or two at a time because I ran out of money. So for me, that was a lot of money. It wasn't really a lot. Like, I think I put like 80 euros or whatever in Doge. Might have been a little bit more, a little bit less. And that ran up quite a bit. And I was like, holy shit, I can make something out of this. And then I was in a little bit of a better financial situation where Bitcoin was trading at 600, 700. So I bought a bunch more, basically shifted my Doge profits around and started actively trading. On that front, I had like hobbies to trade on like Forex and stock markets before. Like, that was something that interested me for quite a while, but was just basically play money, as in literally play money. So I was trading crypto at that, and then I was doing it during this time, right? So you couldn't really do anything wrong. And I multiplied all of what I put in by such a large amount that I was like, I can live off of this for the next 5 years without being too worried. So I can just go from there. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Because I was young. So I was like, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? And then I timed the exit pretty well. So from those gains, I didn't give much back. Pretty much kept all of it and was bearish at the right time. Like I was bearish on the way down. And yeah, so I didn't have a business, didn't have a job next to it. I basically turned full time, like with Bitcoin at like 2K, whatever. Like stopped everything else, and never looked back. So that's the story basically. And then lived off of what I had made during the bull, during the bear. And then managed to kind of multiply it during the next few phases again, which was never like I never got close to the multipliers I put back in then. Like if you imagine, like I started with 2 to 3 figures, and could live off of it. That was quite good. Never really got these multipliers again, but then again, I also didn't trade as degen as I was back then, because yeah. So yeah, that's that. Doug, do you plan on being active in FriendTech? Just curious if you're active in sharing your market thoughts. I mean, I answer questions there basically. Like if you go in there, like if you buy those shares, don't expect anything, because I don't want anyone to kind of put money into something that they might not get any value out of, and they probably won't get any value out of. But yes, right now I'm just like answering questions on that platform. If I get a good one. Sometimes I get good ones and it takes me a while to respond, because I'm lazy. That's why I'm saying like, and I might just never respond to anything ever again. So don't buy that stuff. But from time to time I post. So depends. And I don't know how long that's gonna last. But for now I'm enjoying it. Don, what do you think about gold as an investment? I think it's shit. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. It's underperformed as long as I've been alive, if not more. And it's been, like, I don't get the point. Like, if you're in a country where you're afraid of inflation, or like where inflation is actually like a risk, the dollar seems as safe bet as gold. Easier to carry around too. But at that point, like I can understand it, right? But if you're not, I just don't get it. There's a million better ways to invest your money. So yeah, I'm a gold hater. I don't get it. Having a shiny rock lying around doesn't make much sense to me. Never been for me. When you leave crypto, will you still hold some Bitcoin ETH? I might. Right now, I'm not holding any. So I actually have I don't know. I have like two figure of ETH lying around somewhere. I don't know if I have any Bitcoin, and I have a few NFTs, but that's basically it right now. And I could see myself buy a few and just kind of like keep them in custody somewhere, not with myself, but with some company, and call it a day. But I don't know. Is the answer to that one. I might just be like, the way things are going, I might just be too fed up with it and be like, okay, if it does well, cool. If not, whatever, and just leave and don't have any exposure. So gold has done 400% in 20 years though. Yeah, but I mean, so gold versus the S&P, right? Like, the fuck? You want to hold this? Because I don't get it. Like, we had one big run, and that's basically it. But this is like generally like not the best chart. And this is in log. So this is gold versus the S&P. Like, nah. And I mean, there's obviously trades to be had from time to time, and this goes back quite a bit. But in modern times, especially, I just don't get it. Right? Like if I had to make a bet on gold, I would do it on Bitcoin. Like I like Bitcoin better than gold. So yeah. I think we're still early in Bitcoin and we must accumulate as much before the big money starts buying all of them. Possible. I wish you the best of luck. And I hope you're true. Like, I hope you're right. Because I'm going to make money on it. But I'm not really in the business of accumulating, whatever that means even. Like, people are always like, and this is something that is kind of like, and I'm not attacking you personally, don't get me wrong, but people are always like, I need to accumulate this and that. I mean, technically, you press the buy button, and like, unless you're super, super rich, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna have accumulated everything you want to accumulate in one go. And if you're like dollar cost averaging, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. It's just an odd thing where people are just like if you have money on the side that you're putting into the market, put that in the market. The whole dollar cost averaging thing is just seems quite wild to me. But then again, like if you're super bullish on Bitcoin and on crypto and you want to put everything you earn into it, fair enough. In my experience, right? But this might be just a privileged experience. It's enough. Like, I mean, for me personally, like I didn't put much money in it. In total, low four figures is what I put into the crypto market. And I don't think you need to put in much. Like a little bit of exposure is more than enough. So like putting everything you have in it, more likely than not, is going to get you wrecked. But so are you happy with 5 to 6% legacy gains? Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, it always depends. I think in general, like how I look at the crypto market, right? And this is very personal, obviously, but how I look at the crypto market is basically, this is where you can kind of make wealth from nothing to something. And once you have something, you go somewhere else. That's kind of how I look at crypto, right? Like this is a place where you have opportunities to make something from nothing. That's very rare everywhere else. I think that's the best part about crypto. You just need to find your edge. You need to find something that you're good at, or like one opportunity, and that can lead to your $100 turning into like 10,000, and then kind of grinding that up over a little bit. That's what crypto is great at. But once you have the money, like where you're like financially stable, whatever, I don't get the point in risking it further. Like I don't want to be the richest person on the planet. Never had the need to. I'm not that I'm even remotely close. It's not even like it'd be a joke to compare that. But like for me, enough is enough at some point, and then I'm just looking to secure everything else. And I'm at that point where like I'm down to make a little bit more, but don't get me wrong. Like I don't think anyone would want to give away free money, but for the risk that I would have to take, like if I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna all in crypto or whatever, again, like the risk that I have is going from like being quite set in life to being not set. And I will not risk that ever again, right? So for me, at some point, 5 to 6% gains that are not going to rug pull me, more than enough. Don, what percent dump for Bitcoin on the daily would cause you to go for a long on a shorter time frame? I mean, if Bitcoin went to 20K, I would buy. That's enough of a dump for me. Agreed, maxed out in bonds and saving accounts, too scared to invest in crypto, but I do DCA to keep my toe in. Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys want to do. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be in crypto. I'm saying, like, at some point, everyone that has been in crypto and has made a little bit of money should look to diversify. It's all I'm saying. I'm not saying crypto is a bad place to put your money. It's a risky place to put your money, but it's also one with a lot of opportunity, right? So that's why we're all here, right? That's why we all love this space, because all of the stuff that happens here is illegal in the traditional world, right? So there's a lot of ways to get scammed, and there's a lot of ways to make a little bit. So that's it's the Wild West, and in the Wild West, a lot of people die, and a few make it. And still better odds than a lot of other places. Baby made you soft? I was like this before already, but it does make you soft a little. It's true. Wow, finally got to one of your live streams, mate. Big fan. Do you think indicators trading works okay on high time frames? Probably. I don't do it, so I cannot give you like concrete evidence that it does or does not. But a lot of people claim it does for them, so maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it does work. But generally, like, indicators are made out of price, right? So if you can interpret price, you can technically leave out the indicators. Do you like Solana? I don't like any. Do I like it better than other things? Yes. Do I like it? Arguable. I don't really like any project in crypto beyond Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. Makes me happy for some reason. It's a pet rock. Doesn't do much, and I like it that way. But that's just me, right? So for me, do I like Solana better than other things? Like, do I like Solana better than Litecoin? Most definitely. Same with Bitcoin Cash, XRP. Like, I like it better than a lot of the things in the list. But yeah. Question for 2017 Degen Don. Would you be looking for altcoins that are listing the tokens now to trade them when bull market is here, or new shiny coins that get listed during the bull market? So I think it depends on your strengths, really, right? Like, for example, for me, I'm not really good with new listings. Like, a new coin comes out, like, until I understand it and kind of get a feel for it, like, it's already 10x or went to zero, right? So I'm not good with that. So me personally, I would have looked at coins that are out now, kind of see if there's something actually valuable there. That's what I did during the 2018 bear market, and figured out that there was just nothing valuable anywhere beyond maybe Bitcoin and ETH. 2018 was bad. The people from that time can confirm, I'm sure, was horrendous. Anyway, so I'm better at kind of looking at the ones that are already here. But in my opinion, the better advice would be looking at new ones, as in ones that don't have back holders. The moment the market turns around, you get a new listing, like a new coin that has a few good names on it, that makes a little bit of sense, even if it doesn't at the end of the day, right? That's going to do much better than the old ones. So my advice from back then would be just look at the old ones, because I mean, that's what I was good at back then, even during the dumps when altcoins were dumping in 2017. A lot of people forget, but altcoins were doing horrendously on this way up here. They started doing really, really well on the down leg, but they were not like some of them were actually dumping against USD while Bitcoin was running from 10 to 20k. That's how bad altcoins were doing. As in, the Bitcoin ratio went to basically zero, and I bought quite a few of them, quite low. I didn't make as much money as other people did, but I got quite a good deal on a lot of it, and those were old coins that were still around. I did a few ICOs back in the day, and on the multiplier basis, those earned me much more, right? So those were new coins. Like, I bought ICOs during the bear market. They came out at during the bull market of Bitcoin, but during the bear market of altcoins, they came out when the altcoins started popping off. And like, some of those ICOs I made 250x's on, and one of the worst ones was like a 20x, I think. So even back then, I made more percentage gains on the new shiny stuff. Now, obviously, ICOs don't exist anymore, or don't really, but other similar stuff does. So my advice is new shiny stuff. Back then, I was trading the old stuff, and I've never really gotten to the point where I'm like super comfortable trading the new stuff. You always say new altcoins are going to outperform old ones. How does one recognize which new altcoins has that potential? I mean, don't ask me because I'm not the guy that's going to trade them. But obviously, like, that's the thing, right? You have to be good at picking them. That's why I'm saying it depends on what you're good at. Because if you're good at picking stuff like trash and gems apart from each other, that's the way you should be trading. And then, like, it's just, that's where the outperformance is going to happen. For me, I'm not good at that. So I'm better at, like, just, I mean, I trade Litecoin. I traded Litecoin from like 16K to 30K, and people are like making fun of me the entire time. Made a bunch of money on it. Like, I'm more than, like, in total, like, more than doubled. Like, I got a pretty much 100% movement out of it. Other coins went 5 to 10x, right? But for me, Litecoin was the more easy, like the easier trade, because I'm an idiot and I could trade this easier. So you're gonna see the best performers in the new coins, but that's pretty, like, then you have to be good at picking the right ones. And for me, that's just not what I'm good at. I'm not in enough Discords and Telegram groups with people that chill stuff on Twitter. Like, I'm actually in none. So I don't have the insider info. I don't have anything. I just trade my old coins because that's where I can see the flows best. But like I said, the new coins are the ones that are going to outperform. It's just not my playground. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Like I said, there's just other people for that. How to sideline cope? Anxious on the sidelines since I've mostly been all in cryptos always. Sidelines feels right, but also know that most gains are made during short periods, or afraid to miss gains. Like, if you have FOMO, or if you, like, in general, like when you're feeling stressed, being in and out of a position, and this is something that I always say, like, if you're stressed in a position, your position is too big. And if you're super, super stressed, obviously, and some points when the market is at extremes, you should be, I think, risking more, and then you might get some stress. But in general, like, that's not your day-to-day trading, right? So if it stresses you that you're out of the market, maybe you just have too little exposure then. Like, I tend to, like, when it's not at extremes, when the market is not at extremes, I tend to avoid or like minimize stress. And when I have too big of a position, I'm stressing, and then I'm going to close some, because, I mean, what am I doing? And the same is obviously true the other way around. Like, if I'm stressed by not being in the market, like, maybe I have too little exposure. And if you buy a little bit, you're going to feel better about it. And then it's going to be easier to kind of have the conviction to only put in more if the market does X, right? Like, as in, or you can buy more if it dumps, and you're like, oh, but I'm okay if it pumps, right? Like, that's the way I like to look at it, because if you're constantly stressed, you're gonna do something stupid. As in, like, if you're stressed now that you're gonna miss out, if this thing does a fake pump towards like 29K, you're gonna buy the top of that thing. So you should be making sure that your mental is somewhere where it's actually useful, and that might mean having a little exposure. It doesn't have to be much or whatever. And it's the same, obviously, for the other way around. Might not be common advice. It's just kind of how I look at it. Doesn't have to be even good advice. It just depends. Hope that helps. So. And Don, you said on Casual Friday that something really bad would have to happen for us to revisit 20K? Do you still feel that way? And what do you think are the odds of something super bad happening? So I think the odds of something bad happening are decently high. There's just a lot of shit floating around, and there's a lot of corpses floating around, right? Given all of the blow-ups that we've had in the recent crypto history. That doesn't have to mean that anything will happen, but I think the chances of it are higher than usual. And yeah, I mean, right now, like for a move to 20, like to get a move to 20K, I think we'd have to have something bad happen. Yeah. Could not. Who knows? I have no insider information. I have no extra info. I just look at the chart and I'm like, this just looks like major chop down. And volumes are going down. And whenever volumes are down, right? This is something that you can take a look at yourself. Whenever volumes get down and people are not trading as much and there's not as much money floating around in an ecosystem, people tend to start scamming or just going like blowing up. Because if you have a business and it's all going great, the entire market is going great, it's easy to get money. Even if you fuck something up, if you think back of how many exploits we had, and that got kind of like the holes filled immediately by whoever, like random companies, market makers, whatever. We had a bunch of exploits. All of them got immediately fixed. They just got money thrown at them to fix it, right? Now that volumes are down, if something happens, people are fucked. And that basically means that stuff that wouldn't have blown up, like if you have a shitty run business, it's very hard to blow up during the bull market. And it's very hard to blow up when volumes are high because then people are interested. But it's very easy to blow up when volumes are low because then there's less money to be made, right? And if you don't have like a good company going, it's easy to just kind of fuck something up and then you run out of money and then you have a problem. And so the low volume moments, like people are always like, oh, you should accumulate when volumes are low or whatever. Yes, you can, but you also have to realize that that the risk is very, very high of things breaking at those times. Tend to be good bottoms, but also like when they're not a good bottom, they're horrific to buy. As in, like sometimes you have a move like this, you have a nuke, and then you have low volume here. And if nothing blows up, you would get a move up, right? But if something blows up, you just get an equal sized, even worse move to the downside. And yeah, so it's easy to say in hindsight, like, hey, you should be buying low volumes, whatever. Yes, you can, but the risk is always there. And the risk is higher when people are not making money. Like getting scammed, like if everyone's just earning a shitload of money, it's hard to get scammed in a market. And even if you get scammed, you might make money on it, right? Like people bought obvious Ponzi's and made money on it during the bull market. So technically they got scammed into a scam, but they still made money on it. Right now, like if you're in a Ponzi, you're probably not going to have a good time. Do you see it as a problem now that so many people are targeting 20K, or does it not matter because they will lower their targets again? I mean, just think about what Capo did, right? Capo was bear posting, started bear posting like at 30K-ish, right? We broke down and he was targeting originally 18K, I think. Pretty sure it was 18K. And I was like, holy shit, this guy like is a walking counter indicator and he's targeting pretty much exactly what I'm targeting. Am I being dumb? Turns out once we were at 18K, he targeted 16K. Once we went to 16K, he started talking about 12. Right? Like, so if you're like, oh, a lot of people are doing this and that, they will do dumb shit anyway. Like, even if they're right. And like the whole counter trading business, like people just change their mind or move their targets. It's not the best way to trade. Now, I like looking at the charts. Do I think that we hit 20K? I actually don't know. I have very weak conviction on us ever hitting 20k. I have very strong conviction that 16k is the low. I just think in general that this is probably choppy and could go up, could go down. And during those times, like if I bought anywhere in here or down here, or if I wasn't still in the position, right? So I bought here, originally bought down here, traded a bunch on the way up, right? Sold on this spike, bought back in here, right? And then I sold somewhere in here. It's all on my Twitter, whatever, right? It's not to flex. But anyway, if I held this position, right, I would probably do something dumb, because I'd be like, okay, I made quite a bit of money on this leg. It's 10% leg. Now I've fully round tripped it. And what do I do now? Am I ready to give all of that back and then some? And I probably wouldn't. So I would do something dumb, right? So that's why I trade the way I trade, where I'm like, okay, I think it could go higher, but I've had enough. Like, this is getting stupid, or like it's an outsized move. I actually didn't sell this. I sold this. So I just exit and then re-enter later when there's a more clear picture, because at that point, like, I didn't have a clear setup anymore. And right now I don't have a clear setup. I had a clear setup here, which was basically I bought. I was like, we had good news down here. So I bought in here, and I was like, if we go back below there, I'm going to sell. And I had a good setup here where I was like, okay, the market's just going to go to zero if this isn't holding. And there's going to be another good setup where I have, where I'm going to be able to pick a good invalidation. If I don't have a good invalidation, it's pretty hard for me to trade, and I'm probably not going to have a position. And that invalidation could just be like, we go back up here and I'm like, okay, this has to have been the low. And then I didn't buy the low. People are going to shit talk me for it. And I'm happily buying 29, 30K before we go to whatever. So there you go. Okay, I think that's more than enough. Hope that helped. If not, it's your own fault. You're watching it. It's free. You cannot complain. Anything that's free, it's just it's very hard. So you're the suckers for watching. But yeah, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. If the content is shitty, you have them to thank for it. If the content is good, then thank me. So if you didn't like it, go to Woo. If you liked it, you can leave me a nice comment. I like that risk-free trade. And yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Always a pleasure. Thanks for the good questions. Actually liked every single one that I answered. And sorry if I didn't get to yours. We might do this again if you liked it. If you want more Q&A things, whatever, just write it in the comments or whatever, and we can talk a little bit more about whatever you guys want to. If not, also okay. If you didn't like it, just let me know, and then we'll see how it goes. So yeah, see you guys around. Have a nice rest of your week, and goodbye.